Do you love the Tabernacle Choir? This year, the choir's music is everywhere you are. Listen to your favorite choir songs and music and the spoken word anytime you want on Alexa by simply enabling the skill.
Alexa, play music in the spoken word.
Now playing music in the spoken word.
You can also download the Tabernacle Choir app, subscribe to the choir on YouTube, listen on Spotify, and have access to all their wonderful music. Happy listening.
Evening. Buyer's remorse. Buy a new car? I'll be moving in. Let's get started.
Sorry, I think there's been a mistake. I bought it from Carvana.
You what?
Yeah, great price. I even have 7 days to love it or return it.
So there's no...
No buyer's remorse. More like buyer's rejoice.
I guess I'll let myself out. Congratulations. I mean it.
Buyer's rejoice. Buy your car today on Carvana.
Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
Nobody brings you better coverage of the teams you're passionate about than these guys.
Try some more.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're joined once again by Frank Dolce. He's going to join us every week throughout the year to talk Utah football. Frank, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Frank.
It feels like this is just. Did it feel like football season just ended?
No, it feels like it's been a very long time.
It really doesn't.
It feels like
it's been a long time, and it's been a long and hot summer.
And it has, and it feels like camp's been going on forever. I feel like
forever. We've
talked about almost everything, and I'd really like to see a game, and that'll give us new stuff to talk about.
Right. I know. The truth is, I don't really like all the preseason stuff. I mean, I guess I like to generally know who's coming back and kind of which position groups need some work and which people feel good about. But I don't do that. I'm not great at the speculation stuff. I need a few games of data to really feel like I'm making commentary that's meaningful.
What I find interesting, if the coordinator changes, if you have a good season, they got on the same page. But if you have a crappy season, well, they change coordinators. And so what is really the truth? Because obviously Utah is changing coordinators, and for Dampier, it's his guy. Losing Beck, what's his guy, right? They made an offense click at two different spots at a high level, and now McGiven, well, it's not that big of a deal. But yet, if we get to November and they've lost 5 games, it'll be a big deal. I want to know where the truth is on that. Well said.
I think the truth. Thank you. I think the truth is somewhere. The truth might be somewhere else with this team because of what's happening up front, and I think that's the critical piece. But as far as Dampier and McGiven go, I just think it's going. I'll judge it based on the utilization, I guess. We keep hearing about the great wide receiver room at Utah. And I don't know. Like I said, speculation is my thing. Maybe that's a thing this year. Maybe it's not. But Dampier and a great wide receiver room doesn't seem like an exact match to me. Maybe Ficklin is the guy with a really good receiver room. But as well as Dampier did last year, and some of the critical completions that he made. I mean, that seemed to be the thing, is he made a throw and he made a play in a really critical situation. But I just don't. He's not like, he doesn't throw the ball downfield. That's not his strength. So I think it'll be based on utilization. How is Dampier able to be productive in the McGiven offense? So I'm curious to see how this. I don't think it's going to be throwing the ball downfield. And that, could be completely wrong. But I'll be interested to see how that unfolds. In these scenarios, like, we know what Dampier is capable of. And if he falters significantly this year, then I would probably lean more on, well, maybe the coordinator's not putting him in the right situations.
I thought he was good throwing short and medium range passes. You're right about the deep ball, and I always thought there'd be a chance to throw a deep ball if he threw it earlier, because he's got to put air under it, right? If you take a 5 or 7 step drop and you wait until the guy's 20, 30 yards downfield to throw the ball, it's going to be underthrown. He doesn't have the kind of arm to throw a dart out there 50 yards. But if it's a 3-step drop and you throw it early and you throw it to a point downfield, maybe that could work. But there's a lot of big plays made in the passing game with medium-range throws if guys can run after the catch. I mean,
no doubt.
We didn't say this about Cam Rising, right? But if you take one long Cam Rising touchdown pass, most people would say, oh, he threw a crossing route to Money Parks and USC had like 6 defenders take bad angles, and it went for a touchdown, right? That was a medium throw. That's a throw Dampier can make and did make. And you got a guy.
Absolutely.
You got to have guys who can run. I just think with new coaches, it's a new head coach, it's a new offensive coordinator, it's a new receivers coach. If they're ever going to change what they have at wide receiver, it seems like now to be the time with a bunch of new coaches evaluating and new priorities from the coaches. And you've got an offense coordinator who brought in 2 receivers from the 2 schools he was at previously, and a receivers coach in Bumpus brings a guy in from Mississippi State. They're bringing in guys they know. There's no guesswork here. They've seen how they practice, seen how they watch film, see how they play in games. And if they don't get it right now, we should just stop talking about receivers forever. I mean, forget it. Never mind.
Forever.
Forever.
I think you're right. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is a downfield passing game doesn't seem to be a good match. Like, he's not gonna throw, seam route 15, 20 yards downfield or a go route, or maybe even a deep crossing route. I don't know. But if it's a lot of underneath stuff, isolating receivers, crossing routes, utilizing tight ends, even backs out of the backfield,
pick plays.
I think all of that fits really well with Dampier's skill set. And then you mix into that his ability to extend a play and run the ball and all of those things. I think there's a good chance this could be a highly effective. I really like the running back group. I mean, I think there's a good chance in the offensive backfield this could be a really productive offense. But it still goes back to what's happening up front, how that unit's going to come together.
Yeah, for sure. They've got to get that offensive line to be productive. And if it is, I see no reason why minimally it's not as good as I'm talking about the offense in general, not as good as it was. It should be as good, is what I'm trying to say, as last year. I'm expecting it to be better because he's got another year experience. Ficklen's got another year of experience. They're not. I don't care what they can pump up the receivers all they want. Good for them. It doesn't really matter to me because as long as you get in the end zone, who cares? This is not going to be an offense that is known as a passing offense. If you're doing that, you're undercutting Dampier's overall skill level, and his skill level is extremely high with his ability to make plays, and the same with Ficklin. So I would suspect – I wouldn't say, well, if they don't do it this year, they're never going to do it, because I don't expect them to do it, be pass heavy. They would be silly to be pass heavy when you have those types of explosive runners and Parker, who is very good himself. So that's what you're going to do. I would expect to see more of the same, but maybe at a little bit of a higher level, and maybe that just boils down to Dampier staying healthy. And if that's the case, the offense should be very productive, but it's not going to have a bunch of 350-yard passing games.
No, I don't think so either. That is certainly a possibility. That could happen. I mean, 350-yard passing game. But I don't suspect that to be what this offense will be about this year. I'm also curious about Dampier and Ficklin and how you appropriately manage playing time for both of those guys. And I've talked about it. I know you guys have talked about it. a two-quarterback system and the challenges associated with that. But it's really, I think it's really hard to keep a guy like Ficklin off the field for a significant amount of time. So I'm interested to see how Coach McGiven manages that piece of the game.
I'm really intrigued by that too. I don't have any good answers to that, but Ficklin seems, in everything he says, he seems to really get it and seems to like the plan. He gets the plan. He seems to like the plan. He seems very content when he speaks. I mean, we hear so much of the other stuff, and I just don't hear any of that out of him. And I'm pretty sure if that's what he wanted to get out there, he would figure out how to get it out there. So I'm with you. I can't explain it, but it seems to be working for the two of them.
The explanation is just go look at 25, the film from 25. Why wouldn't you do the same thing? It worked. Why would you change something that doesn't work? That is working.
I think the thought is he wants to be on the field more and do more. And maybe he doesn't. Maybe
he's got to beat him out or transfer, and he chose not to.
Right.
So I don't know why that thinking is.
Well, that's how I would be thinking, is I want to be on the field.
Yeah.
I want to be on the field more. And maybe it is a situation where he's content. Like he's content to get 10, 15 plays during a game maybe. And who knows, maybe they're going to utilize him in other ways. I mean, he lined up in different position groups last year. Ficklin did. So did Dampier. And so maybe that's a way to get around it. But I would just suspect, unless Ficklin is just saying, look, I know this is going to be a year where I'm limited in action, but I know I'm going to be the guy next year, and I can manage that, and I can play here for a couple more years as a full-time guy, and that'd be great. Maybe that's his mindset.
I mean, the game plan is already there. I don't see why you would mess with it. They won 11 ball games with that game plan and lost one game on the road by 3 points where they couldn't convert some fourth downs, and the coach decided not to go for field goals. And I realize we can second-guess all we want, but that's the reality of it. So continue what you do, just do it at a higher level, and I think it boils down to what you said, Frank, that the receivers are not going to be any worse than they were last year. Wayshawn Parker is not going to be any worse, barring injury, of course not, and hopefully that's not the case. And Ficklin and Dampier are not going to be any worse. At minimum, they're all going to be as good. You can argue they're going to be better, and then it boils down to the guys up front because they're the only ones who are different.
Yeah, I really think that's the case. It boils down to what happens up front. So, and PK, I don't know if I have not recognized this in the past, but it seems like you are very optimistic about this team this year, or the offensive side of the ball this year.
I see no reason not to be. If the offensive line, and Jordan Gross is telling us they're 10 deep, and they've got guys. The thing about it is they didn't have a bunch of guys just stand over on the sideline. They've got so many snaps. I saw the D News did a piece on it, and I saw it of the amount of snaps that these kids coming in this year got. And we know that the first rounders didn't play in the bowl game, and that bowl game sitting in the press box was the best that I've seen Dampier play. And, well, yeah, okay. That they just ran over and through and by and every which way to beat Nebraska. Their offense literally did it all. By air, by ground,
land, and by sea.
Yes. And
by sea. No, it did. It rained a lot during the SU Colorado games, and it still floated their boats. So
and I've got sea on my mind because I spent last week in the South Bay, Frank, and it was glorious. So yes, I rode the waves for 4 days in a row, and it was awesome. So yes, they can beat you by sea too.
That is an amazing. It is an amazing. That's the one thing that I really miss from California. Utah's an amazing place, but if Utah had, here's what I would say: if Utah had a beach like the South Bay, and if it had 4 to 6 months of fall it would be the perfect place.
Yeah, and there'd be 25 million people here.
I was going to say, if Utah had a beach, there'd be 50 million people here, and you'd be complaining about the traffic just like you do in L.A. It's great, but I can't get anywhere.
I'd be calling you from Montana saying, if Montana
had a beach,
right.
yeah, right?
Right, exactly.
Well, I think it's an interesting I think this is an interesting time for Utah football. There's certainly a lot of excitement about the program right now. I think that kind of excitement can carry you to a few wins, and then we'll see how the team settles into the middle of the season. If they get off to a quick start,
which I think they will.
The schedule lines up that way for sure.
Yeah.
So I would be optimistic about this team, but I think there's some question marks certainly that have to be answered that I just don't think we'll know until no one will know until we're a few games in. And that all of those things to me hinge around the five guys up front. I'm really interested to see how Jordan Gross does and how he puts that offensive unit together. It feels like the offensive line has been kind of a slow starter for Utah in the last few years, and then they seem to get rolling along. And this would building a new unit lends itself to that. Maybe a slow start, but we'll see how they put it together.
Did you interact a lot? I know Alex Gerke was up there, but I don't know the timeline with when you were there.
Yeah,
because he's back as an analyst and Gross is the coach.
Yeah.
And to me, it seems like those two aren't going to mess that up. I mean, they aren't. I mean, between the two of them, they know what they're doing. It's an extra pair of eyes on that. And they've recruited well. It's like PK said, they were missing their star offensive lineman against Nebraska and had to run a bunch of guys out there. And 44 points. They went up and down the field on them all day. Didn't look like they were getting pushed very hard there. I get that they lost 2 first-rounders, so you've got to take the rebuild and you got to take it seriously. But at the same time, it seems very doable.
Well, I know Jordan Gross as a player wasn't your typical, or what you think of maybe as your typical offensive lineman. He was, super thoughtful about that position. Just worked like crazy on his technique. I think that was one of the things. He was so big and powerful and dominating that maybe you just didn't appreciate the technique that he had, which, according to all sources was unbelievable. And, that's why he performed so well for so long. And so all of those things to me say this is a guy that knows how to build, is going to have a really good insight in how to build an offensive line and put that group together. And, of course, having the experience of Coach Gerke up there, who's been around the game, who's seen everything, it's really just hard to replace that kind of experience. And so those two together, if they're all that we think that they are, then yeah, sure. I could be optimistic about the offensive line. I guess what I am saying is I'm optimistic about the opportunity for the offensive line, and then we'll see how it actually unfolds in the first couple games.
That's fair. I believe that's fair. And I am optimistic. That team went 11-2 last year, and they got a ton of guys coming back. It was the quietest 11-2 in 11-2 history.
No kidding. Isn't that weird? Yeah. It certainly didn't feel like an 11-2 season.
Right.
And yet it was.
Because they lost a couple of games early.
Yeah, because they were 5-2, and 5-2 doesn't have any sizzle, and they didn't have a lot of or any really big-time games after that. And the offense was on fire at that point, just lighting people up, with the possible exception of the Kansas game. They were just lighting people up the second half of the season. But nobody saw, even the biggest Ute fan didn't see a path to the Big 12 title game. Because nobody really believed BYU and Texas Tech were going to stumble. So that made it quiet.
And that may be the case. That may be exactly why, is because there was no path to the title game. And so 11-2, what an amazing season.
Yeah.
But in the midst of it, you're like, well, there's no chance of getting the title game.
Yeah.
So
and then the coach leaves. That's what we're going to remember.
And then the coach leaves.
Yeah.
Yes. In all of our prognostication, last year when we were talking, and this has happened for the last probably 3 years about Coach Whittingham. Is he going to retire? Is he going to stay? None of it. I don't recall any of it where we said with any kind of seriousness, well, he's just going to go to another program. He's going to leave and he's going to go somewhere else.
He's going to get a lot of money to go away, and then he's going to get a lot of money to go coach in Michigan. That was not right.
That wasn't on the play sheet. None of us saw that one.
Here's one for you. What is on Kevin McGiven's play sheet? I guess one thing, he's got such a rep for being so innovative, spreading people out and throwing the ball around. And we saw it last year. It led to a lot of points and a lot of touchdowns. But Parker's so good, and he wasn't that effective in the first half of the season, but he also wasn't getting the ball in the first half of the season. Once he started giving the ball 15 times a game, his numbers exploded. A bunch of 100-yard games.
They were astounding.
They were astounding. Thank you. So do you think the magic number, should he be averaging 15 carries a game, 20? At some point there's diminishing returns and backs get beat up. What's a good number as far as the number of touches he gets, whether it's – they threw it to him a little last year, but not a lot, and maybe McGiven will change that. What's the number of touches for him and number of carries for him?
I think that Coach McGiven is going to be really thoughtful about the talent he has available relative to what he wants to do on the offensive side. I don't think it's lighting up the airwaves and throwing the ball all over the place. With that in mind, I would guess that you're looking at 20 to 25 carries a game.
Ooh. Yeah, 25 seems like a lot. Doesn't mean it's wrong. It doesn't mean it's wrong. Just I think Ficklin gets carries. I think Dampier gets carries. The other backs will get a few.
You're right. You're right. That's probably not taking into account other carries in the game. So, but I think we're in that. I think we're in that range. Like, to me, when if we're getting 20-ish carries out of a back a game, it feels like that means something's going pretty well in that area. And I always feel like that's an advantage for any football team if you're running the ball well. So I like that. I like that number, 20-ish carries per game.
Okay. I'll keep my eye on that then. Frank has spoken. We have the number. 20-ish.
Yes.
20-ish.
20-ish.
All right, Frank.
It's a talent. I like that running back room. It's a good group.
Who's your favorite number two after Parker? Have you got somebody figured out? Who's the backup?
I don't know.
Okay.
Like I said, Dampier. I mean, that's probably my favorite number two. Like, I think he is as highly regarded he is as a runner. I still think he's underrated as a runner. Like, he has a real knack. In fact, there were times when I thought, just put Ficklin at quarterback and put Dampier at running back. Like, I think he's that talented.
Maybe we'll see that.
Could be.
Can't let then the safeties have to stay deep. They can't come up and help. Like,
nope, that's right.
The option pass is clearly a possibility. I can't be cheating.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Run the option with Ficklin at quarterback, Dampier at running back. That is a nightmare for a defense.
All right, Frank, we appreciate it as always. We'll talk to you every week throughout the season. Can't wait. It's almost here now.
All right, you guys are the best. Good to catch up.
Right. Thanks, Frank. Frank Dolce, former Utah quarterback, join us right here on The Zone. DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Utah's best coverage of the Utes, Cougars, Jazz, and Mammoth. Here we go. From the guys who have been there for all the biggest moments in Utah sports history. You're listening to DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome back into the show. PK, fresh as today's headlines. We were just talking about it, and the Big Ten took us our word and immediately sprang into action. Glad we have that kind of power.
Sprang or sprung?
That's a good question. I don't know. You're the grammarian and the spell checker, so I'll trust you. I'll be over here butchering among and between. Pete Thamel, college football national writer, probably a senior writer. Sources, the Big Ten is set to pass a rule today that does not allow players to return from the NFL and play for a Big Ten school. Anyone who's declared for the NFL draft and did not withdraw, appeared on an NFL roster, or signed a contract with the Pro League cannot be on a Big Ten roster. Now, not everyone thinks this is going to make a big difference. Got people saying, well, this would be as effective as an SEC transfer rule. It's just a moral victory. Don't be surprised when the SEC wrecks the Big Ten this year, presumably because they'll have these former NFL guys will be difference makers.
I don't think so.
I'm with you on that.
A football team is just that. I don't know that one individual, in this case, somebody who wasn't most likely at that time good enough to stick on an NBA or an NFL roster. Because if he could, he would.
Right.
If you can go to the NFL, go.
So you can come back and be a good corner or a good safety or whatever, but it's hard to believe that that one player is going to make that big a difference. Great to have more good players, but...
Yeah, I can tell you that a first-team All-Big 12er defense, it was a safety at ASU last year, and he just committed to Houston.
Tim says easy to make that rule when no one wants to play for a Big Ten team. But, yeah, good job.
What do you mean no one wants to play for a Big Ten
Well,
team?
the story is about a kid going to LSU.
Okay, but there's...
A player going to LSU.
If the Big Ten offered him more money and he saw a chance to get out on the field, he would say no because it's the Big Ten? Why would someone reject the Big Ten simply because it's the Big Ten?
Doesn't seem like they would. Little Chief says, this is a great move. The only question is, will it stand up legally? An excellent question. The NCAA rules don't stand up. They have a monopoly. The Big Ten doesn't have a monopoly. Will that be enough to change things? Or will someone say the Big Ten doesn't have a right to make this decision? Every school should make it for itself.
Okay, but you're going to have someone sue them.
Yep.
Why sue them when you can just go someplace else? Why waste your time? So I don't even see that being practical.
It may not happen.
I don't think it will happen.
Depends on how badly a Big Ten team wants a player and how badly a player wants to go there. And to your point, that the pressure's on the SEC schools right now to find a way to get better because they've largely been getting to the playoffs. I mean, they have 2 more playoff wins than the Big 12 over the last 3 years against other, they win when they play each other, the Alabama-Oklahoma game. They win when they get to play G5s, but they got 2 wins against other power leagues, and they're feeling the pressure on that front.
Who's feeling the pressure?
The SEC schools are.
I don't know if there's any more pressure that they already have. I mean, you think kids are going to, I'm going to go to the Big Ten because they're going to have the last team standing? That seems too centrally focused to actually be true.
It's one of many factors. Yeah, playing time's a factor, money's a factor. But I do think for the coaches facing the boosters and or the president, certainly at LSU and Georgia, I think there's pressure to win it all. There has been in Alabama, how much that's being tempered by their lack of elite money. I mean, they've got money, but
there's always been pressure on Georgia. That was the big thing.
Right.
Can those guys get over the hump? And then they did. So I don't think
and that buys Kirby Smart some time.
No more. Buys him time.
Buys him time.
He's got a lifetime contract. Buys him time.
You know what those are worth?
Yeah, well, a lot of money.
Yeah, that's true. They are worth that.
Exactly what they're worth. He was never in danger of being fired. If Kirby Smart needs to buy time, then I would advise every coach in the history of coaching to rent. Don't buy.
I think coaches are starting to talk about that, but okay.
They are now?
Yes.
So something's changed?
I think the Penn State was the upping of the stakes. Yeah, you've been in the semifinal, and then you have a 3-game losing streak, and you're out mid-season. But I get your point.
That's the extreme case.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, he gets another job. Paying him millions again.
Yep. I'll take my Penn State money, take my Va-Tech money, and I have quite the pile of money.
When you got that kind of money, you're not worried about, hey, I put my house on for $350 and they want to offer $330. I just don't see where that's big of a concern there in that situation. So, I think everybody should do it. I mean, these constant handing out more and more eligibility, it's so unseeming that it just you think you're helping the kid, but are you really helping him?
I suppose that has to be answered on a case-by-case basis, but it's not the way college sports has looked for a century. And for those of us who've been following it, it's disconcerting or just downright, it's just a turnoff. Just people, fans throwing up their hands. Now, maybe they just throw up their hands in August and September. They'll put their hands down and grab a remote and watch a game.
The turnoff is guys like Kiffin trying to justify it. That's the turnoff. I hate to be lied to.
When the truth is lying right in the middle of the room, obvious for everyone to see.
The truth is plain to see.
Don't start spinning it.
Yeah, just say, he can help us, and he's better than Joe Blow over here, so I'm going to cut Joe Blow. And it sucks for Joe Blow, but Joe Blow needs to go someplace else, and then they'll cut somebody else so Joe Blow can play. And it's the way of the world. So we're actually teaching them lessons. You're not good enough, get better. And don't try, well, everybody's doing it, and, the kids, they didn't know, and this and that, and they were only doing it. They knew full well what they were doing, that this means my college career is over. Oh, some judge in Oshkosh? Okay.
Anything to put the helmet and the pads back on.
But he says that Kiffin, well, they didn't know at the time. Yeah, they did. The rule got changed after. They thought they were done. That's why they pursued the NFL or whatever league. And, BYU's doing it with this Kohler kid. He was in summer leagues. And now he can have another year of eligibility? It's silly. I'm not blaming the kid for doing it. If something is available to you, go ahead and do it. Sure. It's not the kid. It's the so-called adults. And then you have Kiffin out there trying to explain. And then Texas Tech, well, we're just so concerned about the young man.
Yeah. So how about when Chesney says he's part of our family? They're apparently bringing somebody who's in an NFL minicamp, a linebacker, Trent Hedrick.
Yeah.
Now, this rule that might go by the wayside here.
Well, the season starts next week.
Plug a linebacker in.
Waiver wires?
Well,
what they need to do is find out who got cut and go to that person. How did that feel when you were in the program and you're doing the lifting at 6 a.m. and the running and all that and blah, 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 and then it comes down to it and you get cut?
You're out.
Yeah.
It feels
We've
terrible.
seen this a million times in high school. These kids transfer all over the place, and they come from an hour away. Well, what about Johnny, who lives down the street, and that's his high school team, and he got cut? Never hear about that stuff.
Poor Johnny.
Yeah. What is that? In the sake of winning?
Which is happening at LSU, happening at UCLA, happening. Somebody's playing time is going away. Even if you have an open roster spot, somebody's playing time is going away. And if you don't have an open roster spot, then somebody's vaporizing completely.
Right. And at this point, can't you just go with the guys that you have and see what happens? Is the world going to end if you only win 9 games instead of 10?
Bear Wire at Golden Bear Wire, clearly a UC Berkeley fan. It's absolute BS that Trent Hedrick is allowed to be eligible for UCLA. Chesney knows his roster is bare, and he's shopping for NFL players now.
Of course he is.
Yep.
He's paid to win games.
So the answer to that is no, he can't just go with the roster. He's got a linebacker, and the kid played at James Madison, so he knows the system, so they figured
he's better than what they have.
Yep.
If he wasn't better,
they wouldn't be going through all this trouble.
Yes. Right. And you hear the coaches, is it better that we discard him, put him on the street? Well, what you should say, is he has too much talent for us to put him out on the street. That's what you're telling us, because if he didn't have enough talent, you'd cut him in a heartbeat if he got arrested and whatnot, whatever he did. Yeah, you see it all the time, and the pros do it too. They take guys, if you're good enough, you'll get plenty of chances because everybody wants to win. Just come out and say it. That's what I want. Don't give me some BS line that, oh, you're trying to be benevolent or you're worried about Brendan Sorsby's soul. No. You thought he could help you score a point in the playoffs because you didn't do it last year. And if Morton had had another year of eligibility, they would have said, sorry, son, you sucked. You're out. So you're not really worried about the kid. You're worried about the kid as long as he's good enough. And then you're worried about him.
Worried about W's.
Yeah, that's what everybody wants.
Open field tackles, big touchdowns.
Yeah, I've got at Little League, there's a guy that sat in here and he got offensive linemen who moved in. He's ecstatic. They're 11 years old. They're going to win games.
Sweet. Sweet.
And I want to make sure that I put out there I was just as guilty as everybody else was.
Thrilled about winning when
yes.
when you had the 11-year-old.
Yeah. So I am no different.
You tell the story about the parent, I forget what sport it was, but he was bringing the snacks. I don't even remember what the snacks were. And geeked up and laughing with the kids. And you at the time you said, I didn't get what is that guy doing? And then you said in retrospect, he was the one who got it.
Hmm?
He was the one. Those are the moments, and
yeah.
you only get so many, and then the kids grow up and they leave the house, and you're, as one of my friends said, the only thing worse than them leaving the house is them coming back. But you don't get to freeze them at, 6, 12 years old, whatever.
His name was Jim Gassick.
Oh, you remember the story now. You got it. Okay.
Oh, yeah. He was a hero. And then he was a pilot. And then he got cancer and died at 61. Yeah, it's tragic.
I didn't know that part of the story. Or if I did, I hadn't put it together.
In his obituary, I love my life. I just wanted more of it.
Yeah. And scene. There it is.
Yeah. And because his son was on the youngest ones. In his family. So he'd already gone through it.
So you got you and all these other parents going through it for the first time.
And it's life and death.
He's on...
and I was just as guilty as anybody else.
Kid 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever.
You realize it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
Family Feud guy. Just had the discussion with him the other day. The second and third time around, it was way easier. Because he knew. It doesn't mean anything.
Let's go have some fun.
Yeah, right. But everyone is caught up on winning. And we're all thinking what we're all doing at the time we think is best. And for some, it is best. As I understand it, Jackson Dart wasn't getting recruited by many people. He goes to COVID, and depending on who was leading your state, if you're on this side and you hated that guy, you didn't play. If you're on this side and you're okay with the guy, you did play. And he transferred and he played and he was a national player, blah, blah, blah. And look at him now.
Gave him a path forward.
Yeah. Who's to say it wouldn't have happened anyway? Who knows?
Might have worked out.
Yeah.
And he had more bumps along the way.
And he came from up north to come down there. And away you go. Great. So we all do what we think is best at the time. And some work and some doesn't.
Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes
you're not going to find a guy who made more mistakes than me. Yeah. So we're all out there. And then it's carried from the little all the way up to the top. And it's inbred in all of us. And now we're letting guys who played professionally or tried to play come back. Well, yeah, it sounds good, but at the expense of somebody else. Because I would think that with a week to go, your roster's set.
Until the NFL makes a cut.
Yeah. What's it going to be? Cut down day's Sunday.
Are we going to have another come in here Monday morning? What is trending and have another story?
Like Monday, yeah. I think
Florida is swooping in.
1 p.m. Monday, our time, or Sunday, they have to get down to the limit and the practice squad and all that stuff. It was about 65 guys or something. somewhere in there. And most rosters have 15, 20, 30 more guys right now because they all have one more preseason game to go. And then away you go. And in a sense, that is like Trevor Riley told me a story that I think he was with the Dolphins, and they said, hey, if you don't get called, because they don't tell you made the team, you just find out you didn't make the team, right? If you don't get called on Sunday, you're good to go. Well, you're on pins and needles on Sunday. Well, you show up Monday, and you're good to go, except somebody else got cut, a linebacker someplace else, and on Tuesday, you get cut. Because they brought somebody in who got cut, and they signed him, and they cut you.
It never changes.
But it's the pro, so we're okay with that.
We know it's part of the deal.
College seems seedy. But will it be, and you're right, 100%, it is part of the deal. But in 10 years, will this be part of the deal? That guys get cut from the pro, okay, come back, and then we'll cut somebody, and we will not think that's seedy. It's the standard behavior.
That's where it's gone with the transfer portal, bringing transfers in. You know, there's a whole thought that you go somewhere as a freshman or sophomore and you work hard and then you get your chance. And, I mean, there's a whole line of kids now who are being told, well, we get so-and-so out of the portal and they played. They're like, you didn't play your whole recruiting class. So are you a terrible recruiter?
No, you got kids that are better. Because they're better simply, if no other reason, because they're older.
Yeah, they're older. But then as you get older, then the sophomore class, they don't get to play as sophomore because they brought in. And then it's like, well, you're a junior, but you've never played. So I can bring these kids. Well, you didn't play us. You didn't play a whole recruiting class. And you're like, yeah.
And he would have been fired if he didn't win. That's like I told you. The Devils, I think, are going to name a starting quarterback today. It's going to be a transfer. Well, then what's the point of complaining about Sam Levitt leaving? But yet I've seen tons of people from ASU say, I hope he sucks this year. Well, you got no problem with the guy that they're going to name the starter coming in. You want him to succeed, and he just left someplace else. Where the kid the leader is going to be the kid from Kentucky. Well, he played at Kentucky. He didn't sit the bench. He played. And you're fine with him. Well, wait a second here.
Well, you weren't rejected by him. That's what it comes down to, the rejection. I was rejected by this guy. I wasn't rejected by this guy.
I don't want to hear anybody complaining about Sam Levitt leaving. Because you're bringing in somebody who left someplace else.
Good luck with that.
Well, it's stupid. The whole system is stupid. So we all need to shut up, and I'm going to be quiet right now.
Which makes for bad radio. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Over 2 decades of sports radio dominance in Utah.
My favorite.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Join Scotty G and the coach Tuesday from 10 to 2 at My Hearing Centers, 8941 South, 700 East. PK, we talked about this a little earlier this morning. Rob Manfred, amid the Major League Baseball talk, says we want to play in 2027. Happy talk, or there's actually a way forward? There's too much money being made. And the Dodgers are their best argument, and they're going to lose that between the guy having to sell everything, and he's not going to be able to keep financing it the way he has, and somebody else may win anyway.
I think they'll play.
Is it really worth it?
Well, yeah, but you're looking at it logically. You get emotions involved in this stuff, and then I got to show you. We got to win. I got to beat you. I got to get the upper hand. But I think they'll play, and they certainly want to play. Why wouldn't they? It's what they do. It's fun. Ball players want to play.
Ask for the moon. Get a few things. Settle it quickly. And even if you lose a little, you don't lose a lot.
I don't know about quickly, but I believe they'll play.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.